And Syleste, the heartbreak that people are feeling is real. I have heard so many people talking about how they want to make plans to attend the main funeral service come Sunday, and are planning on getting out there very early at the State Farm Stadium in Glendale so they can be part of it and maybe feel like they're part of the healing process that that so many people in the whole community are feeling.
And I think for a lot of people, they were wondering whether or not they were going to be able to make it out to the location there. There you go. Mm. And a lot of people were initially, they were asking there was a lot of chatter beginning of, yesterday and end of last week. And they were asking what church is big enough to hold this many people. So there was we have some mega churches here in town and some, locations that could potentially, but when they announced State Farm Stadium, that was when you knew they were getting a lot of requests for a huge gathering. He knew world leaders.
Yeah. And I'm not going to be surprised if it's totally filled right to the brim.
I agree with you.
Okay, so this, of course, is one of the topics. How's the FBI doing in terms of its handling of the investigation? As I'm sure you've already seen, Kash Patel, the director of the FBI, has already come under criticism for what some perceive to be sort of a slow response on his part as he leads the FBI. Eventually, he did get out to Utah. So he's been under the glare of the spotlight all morning long, and we're going to play for you right now some of what's been said on Capitol Hill this morning. And yeah, he's on the hot seat. There's no doubt about it. It actually covers multiple topics here, but we're going to start with where things stand with the investigation and what's been done so far. Here is that.
Director Patel himself had no training or life experience for this position. The result of that incompetence is staggering. For example, after Attorney General Bondi publicly stated in February that the Epstein client list was, quote, sitting on my desk right now to review, that's what she said on Fox, Director Patel diverted more than 1,000 FBI personnel from their critical missions to work on 24-hour shifts reviewing over 100,000 pages of Epstein-related records. These personnel were instructed to flag any records in which President Trump was named. But that review ended in an unsigned memorandum from DOJ and FBI stating simply, there is no incriminating client list, close quote. Director Patel still has not responded to my letter from 2 months ago asking about his role in this cover-up. On the day of the horrific shooting of Charlie Kirk at Utah Valley University, Director Patel again sparked mass confusion by incorrectly claiming on social media that the shooter was in custody, which he then had to walk back with another social media post. Mr. Patel was so anxious to take credit for finding Mr. Kirk's assassin that he violated one of the basics of effective law enforcement. At critical stages of an investigation, shut up and let the professionals do their job. All of us in public life, on both sides of the aisle, have a responsibility to bring down the temperature and to work to unite the American people. Let's be clear, Republicans are not Nazis and Democrats are not evil, as Mr. Patel has claimed. Democrats are not responsible for the murder of Charlie Kirk, and Republicans were not responsible for the murder of Melissa Hortman. Our political opponents are not our enemies. We are all Americans, and we should be working together to keep the American people safe and protect their constitutional rights.
Cato Institute, conservative think tank, published a study just last week that found terrorists from the right were responsible for 6 times more deaths than people from the left. I actually don't want to go tit for tat on this, but what I am asking for is that this rhetoric of blaming one side or the other stop, if you could convey that to the president, and that we actually work on things that are solutions. So could you commit to me, Mr. Patel, Director Patel, that you will do that?
Absolutely, Senator. Now, I know that there's a lot of talk about Epstein, and I'm here to testify that the original sin in the Epstein case was the way it was initially brought by Mr. Acosta back in 2006. The original case involved a very limited search warrant or set of search warrants and didn't take as much investigatory material it should have seized. If I were the FBI director then, it wouldn't have happened. The search warrants were limited to small time periods to include 2002 to 2005 and 1997 to 2001. Mr. Acosta allowed Epstein to enter in 2008 to a plea and non-prosecution agreement, which then the courts issued mandates and protective orders legally prohibiting anyone from ever seeing that material ever again without the permission of the court. We at the FBI are in support of the president's budget, and we are in support of eliminating waste, fraud, and abuse. We've already identified tens of millions of dollars of duplicative contracts that the FBI was spending on software and private sector engagements. We've also identified duplicative workloads. So we are transitioning those folks out of doing the same thing twice over and into the field. And that's my focus right now. And the move of the FBI headquarters is also going to save the FBI $3.5 billion in the American taxpayers. So we're focused on eliminating waste, fraud, and abuse. And as I told Senator Graham, if we're, I'll go back and talk to my team, and if we need more, we'll let you know.
So there you go with some of the comments we've been hearing, and it just continues. It's going to be a long day, that's for sure, for the FBI director, Kash Patel. So, Celeste, we are going to have a report now coming up after the break. Mm-hmm. The governor of Utah had said we have got to, as a country, somehow calm down from the level of political hate that we're experiencing. And the president was asked about that. It's very interesting. And then he was also asked about the governor, Spencer Cox's comments that social media is a cancer on this country. And again, I thought the president's remarks were really interesting. So all of that's going to be coming up. In fact, as we go to break, I'll just, let's do this. Let's give you a glance at what's happening with our poll question. This'll, if you haven't grabbed the QR code, here's your chance to kind of join the conversation. Then we're going to get into it after the break. We'll include some of your comments as Dave checks in on it all. But does social media share a lot of the blame for the problems we're having right now in the country? And 69% yeah. But the First Amendment protects hateful comments. 21% said, yeah, and they got to do more to scrub some of the most hate-filled comments. And then 10% say, really, it's not the problem. Don't start censoring it now. QR code, that's a great way for you to let your feelings be known.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of questions surrounding why some of the stuff has made it onto social media. So I think that's going to continue to be a topic here in the nation and around the world in the coming days, Ron.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we'll take that break. Give us your input on the poll question. We'll go to Dave. And again, a live report on what's expected to transpire in Utah in the next few hours. And then what about this investigation that we're just now learning about into a potentially, quote, more extended network? It's all coming up after the break. And just an announcement for our everydays, very loyal
Director Patel
crowd.
himself
Oops, hold
had no
on,
training.
everybody. Hang on now.
Simmer down, Senator.
Correct.
Simmer down.
We are going to get to the mystery cam in the next break. But yeah, there's obviously a lot of focus on what's going on in Washington. But so the president has 3 very packed days, Celeste. He is winging his way now across the Atlantic to get over to the UK. I know he loves it over there. He's good friends with King Charles.
Yes.
He has a kind of a ceremonial thing he's going to be doing to honor the life of Queen Elizabeth while he's over there. And just a very packed schedule for both later today and then on Wednesday and Thursday. We'll have plenty of coverage of that. But before he left the White House, as so often he does, he had a chance to answer a few questions. And one of the questions was, social media, is it a cancer on our country? His response was very interesting. And what about the overall push that the governor of Utah made when he said, we just have got to be better as a country? Here is just a little bit of that from the South Lawn of the White House just a while ago.
The Utah governor said that social media is a cancer and more people should log off and take some time away.
Well, it's not a cancer in all respects. In some respects, it's great. But there are segments, there are deep, dark holes that are cancerous, absolutely. Beyond cancer, they're death. How are you going to get China to
So definitely some strong feelings from the president there. And this was toward the just before I think he boarded Marine One to get onto Air Force One. And what the governor had said is it's a cancer on our society. The president agrees and says it can be even worse than a cancer. It can be death. And the governor had said, I would encourage people to log off, turn off, touch grass, hug a family member, go out and do good in your community. I think, Celeste, we're still dealing with the after effects of COVID when everybody was locked down in their homes. And for some people, it's still a bit of a challenge to fully get back into life beyond the online world.
Well, and I think through COVID, you make a good point. That is how we connected with people. I mean, think about everything that we did on social media. We made sourdough bread. We made banana bread. We made dances on TikTok. Our kids learned things through social media. Our kids used Microsoft Teams and Google Classroom.
I'm so glad you brought up the dancing on TikTok, Celeste, because you're right. That's kind of when it sort of took off. And I thought, that app will be gone in a couple of months. Who cares about watching people dance?
Wrong.
That prediction was incorrect.
And now, Ron, you're on TikTok dancing, right?
Hopefully not, but who knows?
Someday. Someday.
By the way, that's going to be one of Friday's big stories. We think the announcement's coming this Friday that they have a deal to keep TikTok going. But anyway, let's jump in. Let's see what you guys think. We're going to debut both of our poll questions this morning. In fact, Celeste, this time around, let's start with YouTube, now approaching 200 votes. Just refresh. Thank you, Big D.
Big D.
Does social media share a lot of the blame for the current problems in the U.S.?
Okay, yes. And they should eliminate hate-filled comments. 21% of you say that. Winning on this poll, though, 66% of you say yes, but the First Amendment protects even hateful comments.
Okay. And your other option, social media is not the problem. Don't start censoring it. I mean, we were thinking about various aspects to this poll question. You know, what if we, I think most people would acknowledge we really do have a problem in this country just in terms of how divided we feel and how maybe shocking some comments are that you see on both sides. But 13% are saying just leave it alone. It's really not the problem. The problems go deeper than that. But let's check out our YouTube poll. And this is one of those, Celeste, where we've seen this more and more over the last couple of weeks. Basically, the numbers are running very close to the same. 2/3 of you are saying, yeah, it is to blame. But First Amendment protects it. 26% saying they should do more to just scrub the worst of the worst in terms of some of the hate-filled kind of comments that are out there. Only 7% say it's not the problem. Don't start censoring it. You can grab the QR code. Let's go to Big D.
Big D.
And see what kind of comments, Dave, are you seeing this morning, buddy?
A couple of really good ones here. RLS Vids says social media shares some of the blame, but it's abused and misused. Everyone is an expert behind a keyboard, but nobody knows what they're talking about. Additionally, parents are letting their kids run rampant on it and aren't doing their part to educate. And then this has got to be the social media comment of the week. This is from Troy S. N4C. I remember living in a world before social media, and it was the greatest. Would love to see it go away, except for FTT. That should stay forever. So thanks, guys, for commenting. Keep it up. We love hearing from you.
We appreciate the good vibes, that's for sure.
Yes,
right,
we do. So Brandon Panagos, he was in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
He had a good comment here. Brandon, are you new to the chat? Because welcome if you are. He says, yes, these young kids need to touch grass.
Yeah, well, that was what the governor had to say, right?
Yeah, and there's that whole idea of grounding, and I know like it's kind of like some people that they it's called just walking barefoot through grass.
Yeah, that's great.
And feeling the earth behind you. So there might be something to that.
Okay, by the way, we're about a minute away from checking in live with Sarah Allegre in Utah with a report on what's expected to happen today. But boy, this is a big headline. It's right from the New York Post. This is right out of the Post, and they're saying the FBI's #2 man says he suspects that Charlie Kirk's alleged killer, Tyler Robinson, that he could have been, quote, aided and abetted by a, quote, extended network. And it continues, as the Post has reported, law enforcement was already probing whether pro-trans online groups, sexualized animal-obsessed furries, and others connected with Robinson had advanced knowledge of his alleged murderous plans. It goes on to say the groups include communities on the online gaming platform Steam, as well as Armed Queers SLC, which took down its Instagram page after Kirk was murdered. And it continues, FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino suggested that the feds are casting an even wider net, scrutinizing whether anybody in the crowd, including possibly the TikToker who was asking Kirk a question at the moment of his murder, knew anything about the plot. We are going to stay on top of that. The New York Post is really doing a good job of kind of digging into that part of the story. But Celeste, we're going to go to Sarah Allegre now. She has been on scene there for many days doing a great job of reporting. Do we have her, you guys? Is she coming down on the Zoom or live?
ENG.
Okay. ENG 21, Sarah. I know it's going to be a major day there today. So if you could, go ahead and kind of give us the update of what to expect.
Yeah, it's a big day here. I am in Provo, Utah. I just want to let you guys know I'm hearing myself talk at the current moment. But yeah, state prosecutors, they're expected to file a capital murder charge against the man accused of killing conservative activist, as you guys mentioned, Charlie Kirk. Authorities say Tyler Robinson, he had left anti-Kirk messages online and that he had started leaning toward left-wing ideology over the course of the past couple of years or so. Now, FBI Director Kash Patel, we heard from him last night on Fox. He's also in that Senate Judiciary Committee hearing at the current moment, revealing new details about the investigation, and some shocking new information about what was shared both before and after the shooting online. Now, I'm going to take a look at my notes because I want to quote him correctly here. He talked about a text message exchange where the suspect specifically stated that he, quote, had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk and that he was going to do that. Now, when asked why by others on this online discourse, he said, quote, some hatred cannot be negotiated with.
All right, Sarah. Yeah, it does really sound. Hopefully, we're going to get more information. From I know prosecutors have been very quickly building their case. I'm talking about the state case coming out of Utah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And we know the FBI is right now reviewing the chats online. That messaging app Discord is also a big topic of discussion, topic of concern as well. They're trying to learn who he talked to both before and after the shooting. So right now what they're also doing, they're looking through laptops, they're looking through gaming systems at both Tyler Robinson's home, but also the home of his romantic partner as well, trying to piece together this motive here and get a more accurate depiction of what that is. Now, the other night, we also heard from U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi. She talked on Fox's Sean Hannity show just yesterday, talking about the Trump administration, how they plan to pursue some of the toughest penalties here as well. But right now, at the very least, it's up to the state of Utah. That's going to move forward first before some federal action takes in. We know he's up against aggravated assault charges, obstruction of justice as well, along with felony discharge of a firearm. And again, we will hear from the Utah County Attorney relatively soon at 12 p.m. local time, 2 p.m. Eastern time, with those charges announced after they're formally filed.
All right, Sarah, thanks very much. Great reporting. I'm sure we'll be checking in with her again. And Syleste, I'm glad that she brought some of that up because toward the end of the morning session in Washington, here's what Kash Patel had to say regarding where the investigation is leading them.
Unfortunately, it has been leaked that there was a Discord chat, and for those unfamiliar with it, it's a gaming chat room online that the suspect participated in. So what we're doing, we've already done, is serve legal process, not just on Discord, so that the information we gathered is sustained and held in a evidentiary posture that we could use in prosecution should it be decided to do so. And we're also going to be investigating anyone and everyone involved in that Discord chat.
Okay, very good. I see the public reports that the Discord thread had as many as 20 additional users. It sounds like you're trying to run down all of that to see if that's accurate, who else may have been on that thread, what they may have known. Is that fair to say?
It's a lot more than that, and we're running them all down.
It's a lot more than 20?
Yes, sir.
And you're running all of that to ground?
Every single one.
Yeah, fantastic.
That's a big number.
Yeah, it is. I believe that was the voice of Josh Hawley, the senator. So, yeah, a lot of different aspects coming in from this hearing today.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, these are basically new ways you have to do investigations.
Well, not just that, but I know we only have about 20 seconds left here and we can discuss it after the break, Ron. But, we've had an attorney in who said those people that were on that Discord chat could also face charges. Yeah. This will be new, kind of a breakthrough in prosecution.
Okay. Pretty extensive coverage for you. We are going to kind of turn the page here. Matter of fact, it's Mystery Cam time. And
That's a new one.
Oh, look at this. Okay, give us your guesses. Back in a minute. Celeste,
Yes, sir.
now I'll just tell you, I'm a little bit of a nerd when it comes to state capitals.
No.
If I'm anywhere within, I'm not kidding, if I'm within 100 miles of a state capital, I will drive over to it and see if I can go on a tour.
And do you try to make it into like where the lawmakers are debating and go up and grab the gavel? And are you just like, go to town?
So far, no. I do have a lot of opinions, but I don't think they want them in wherever. Like one of the most recent state capitals, I was in Minnesota. So I toured the capital in St. Paul.
Yes.
I have not seen all 50 of them. I've seen a lot.
Yeah.
The most beautiful, the most spectacular is not this one.
Oh, I think this is kind of nice,
yeah.
though. Yeah. What do you think about our state capital? It has copper on the top. It's one of the 5 Cs.
We would have been so much better off if they would have followed Frank Lloyd Wright's advice.
Yes.
And by the way, you can find that online. You can kind of Google it. Frank Lloyd Wright, Arizona State Capitol.
Okay.
His idea was going to be spectacular. It would have made us one of the most unique of them all. Instead, we have a hodgepodge of two of the Senate and the House that look like they're boxes from the 60s.
Well, you know what it looks like? It looks like someone that decided to build this house in the 1960s and then in the 80s do an add-on.
Yeah, I know.
And then in the 90s do another add-on.
I know.
And they maybe do like a half reno in the year 2005.
Right.
That's what it looks like.
I know, yeah.
Maybe they should have kept it in Prescott, which is the actual territorial capital of Arizona.
That was more of a log cabin style approach, but why not? Yeah. All right. Anyway, I do say the fanciest, the most beautiful is the 5-domed state capitol in Iowa.
Okay.
But we have to guess where this one is. So here it is. You guys can guess as well in the mystery cam. I see a Wisconsin as one of the guesses, and I really like that guess, as a matter of fact. That would be, if it is Wisconsin, that's going to be...
Would it be Madison?
Madison. Okay.
Okay, so you're going to go Madison.
Yeah.
Are you going to go
How about
Madison,
you?
Wisconsin?
I'm going to go Madison, Wisconsin.
Okay, I'm going to go like, where is it in Wyoming?
That would be in
Jasper?
Cheyenne.
Cheyenne. I'm going to go Cheyenne.
Okay, so we got a Cheyenne, Wyoming from Celeste, Madison, Wisconsin from yours truly.
Yes.
And let's find out what the answer is, everybody.
And Dean is back.
Okay.
So we are both wrong. Jefferson City, Missouri.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And some of you were chiming on. You thought the first video was the mystery camera.
Yeah, what was that one?
That
Celeste?
one was Detroit.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, those blue waters.
Blue as
I think
can
there was a
be.
couple people in the chat. You guys got it. You're like, that's Michigan.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I thought, wow, what a unique spot. It looked more like a Florida, or somebody said the Bahamas in the chat, but it was so beautiful.
Yeah, who knew they had water as kind of beautiful as
and
that?
Detroit-style pizza.
Oh, yeah, man.
yeah.
Come on. Hello,
Bring
buddies.
it.
You know, the last time I was in Detroit, I went up to the manager of the local Buddies, and I said, why don't you come to the Valley? We have a lot of pizza lovers out there.
And what'd they say?
He said, oh, I'll pass it along.
Oh.
So far, nothing.
You know what they should have? Every time you say Detroit, you got to go, Detroit.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Well, there's a big showdown between them and Jets, which, by the way, Jets does have locations here in the Valley. So this story about the lady who's going to face felony charges, what is she doing on the phone, threatening the people who are just trying to take care of animals at Maricopa County Animal Care and Control? She made these threatening calls, 18 separate calls. And this was all back in the year June of 2024. We're going to play some of it for you. You'll see.
It's crazy what she said.
So crazy. But here's just a little glimpse of what they were having to put up with. And then we'll update you on the case.
Animal Care Control, how can I help
Wow.
you? You guys put Luna down. I'm coming to burn your building down and strangle you to death.
Thanks for calling in CACC. This is
Hey, I hope you guys burn in hell. I'm going to tie you guys all up, set your place on fire.
Animal welfare is an emotional line of work. You can look at any of our Facebook, Instagram comments, and you can see there's always a number of emotions running through those comments. And it's a shame that someone took the rhetoric to a different step and put our staff, our volunteers, and our animals in potential harm.
But taking it up to threats is not only is it not appropriate, it's illegal. And if law enforcement is able to make a case, I'm sure county leadership would back the prosecution of anybody who's going to raise the rhetoric to that level.
All right, so here's the update. Sorry, here is the update for you. This lady, her name is Katie Dixon. She lives in Vancouver, Washington. She turned herself in. I think she didn't realize she was going to be recorded.
Well, I don't know about those people from Washington.
Well, Celeste, 99% of them are all fine.
Plus, I married one. So
Yes,
anyways,
that's right.
there's that.
And you work with one.
Well, and it's so crazy, Ron. Like those comments, they're very aggressive.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like the motive behind it. She actually turned herself in, fortunately.
Which good for that. But I mean, we had to use the bleep button, which is never a good sign.
Geez.
Good luck to her. You're innocent till proven guilty, but we'll see what happens.
By the way, Ron,
Lenny go ahead.
I was going to just say this.
Yeah.
I just Googled, you were talking about the Arizona State Capitol that Frank Lloyd Wright created.
Wouldn't that have been the coolest thing ever?
Okay, you all in the chat got to stay tuned for this or Google it later, and maybe we can have a guest on to talk about this. It is spectacular.
It would have been so cool. We would have had the #1 best out of all 50 states. Instead, we got a hodgepodge. Okay, let's bring Lenny Marshall on, everybody. Lenny Marshall, what he did on Sunday is so noteworthy. We really wanted to bring him on. There's Lenny right now. Now, he drives a modified Corvette that looks like something out of Mad Max. And you guys, you go out there in your modified cars for drives, like every weekend, Lenny? Something like that?
Yeah, usually every Sunday we go out there.
Oh, every Sunday.
Wow.
Okay.
It's a pretty drive, isn't it? But quite dangerous.
It is, but it draws a lot of people from all over the valley, actually all over the country, to come out and check out that road. But yeah, it is dangerous if you get complacent.
Take us out on Sunday morning. You're out there driving on the windy roads of the SR 88, and somebody flags you down, and all of a sudden you realize there's a really bad situation.
Yeah, we were out there, and the funny thing was, about 10 minutes before the incident happened, I was talking with a friend of mine, Nico, and let him know that, these accidents do happen. I've been first on scene for a couple of them. And 10 minutes later, we were in the mix. He went down there with me also, and it was just a pretty bad scene. It took us a while to get down there. You couldn't really see the wreck from the road, but when we got there, we just saw one gentleman who was outside of the car bleeding profusely. Immediately took my hoodie off, stopped the bleeding the best that I could, and tried to get the young lady out of the car. It was just really a bad scene.
Oh, wow.
Were both of them passed out? Were you able to communicate with either of them? Were they even aware of what was going on?
They were aware that they had been in an accident. They just didn't know how bad it really was. We were able to speak to both of them. The young lady just wanted to get out of the car. Unfortunately, the passenger side was so crushed we couldn't get her out that way. So we went to the driver's side. We were able to open that door, and I had to rip out the center console to get to her. She was tangled up in the seatbelt. My biggest fear was a fire, obviously, but when we got her out, thankfully the helicopter arrived probably within 15 minutes of getting them out of the vehicle.
You know, Lenny, we're showing some drone footage of that part of they call it Hell's Gate, right? It's a pretty scary drive, if you like you said, if you're not watching yourself. For folks who are not familiar, because here on YouTube we have people from all over the world who are watching. What does that road look like, and why is it called Hell's Gate?
Well, there's a gate in that area, but that turn is actually probably the most notorious for accidents and dangerous turn. There's no guardrail there. If you aren't paying attention, it's such a... Yeah, you could go off just like they did. And, it was unfortunate for them because it is 377 feet to the bottom.
Wow.
Yeah. And I don't know if you had any medical training or outdoors, experience where you maybe have done some extreme hiking, et cetera, but what was that whole process like for you actually getting down there to the vehicle?
I would say it probably took us about 15 minutes to get down there. I mean, we could have been badly injured had we slipped and fell. There's no trail that leads you down there. It's kind of like scrambling, and we just had to make our way the best we could. You can't see the car from the road because it had went down into the canyon So we just had to navigate kind of blindly to get down there.
Right. Okay. Well, when it was all over, said and done, by the way, let me just update everybody. Madeline is in an induced coma.
Oh, wow.
With a broken neck and a brain bleed. But she's alive thanks to you. And were there a couple of other guys that came down with you as well from your group?
Yes. Nico came down with me originally. He's another car enthusiast. He's the one I was having the conversation with about the wrecks out there.
Right.
And shortly thereafter, his friend Patrick came down, and he offered, comfort and to Maddie, and keeping her awake. We obviously didn't want her to go to sleep because she tried, laying down and,
of course,
due to the trauma.
So did that crash, do you know, did it happen that morning, or had they been there late to the night?
It happened, and people, some bystanders had seen it happen.
Oh, wow.
I didn't see it happen, but, if someone had not seen that happen, they probably would not have been found, unfortunately, because you can't see it from the road.
And Lenny, there's a commenter in our chat, Darla. She said, I can't believe they lived. Holy crap, it is smashed into nothing. When you saw the wreckage from the vehicle, were you also surprised that she was able, to be found alive?
Yeah, I was. On the way down there, we got a visual of the car. It looked just like you see in the pictures. And I was just praying that, they were going to be okay. And, thankfully they were both alive and could speak to us. And, we just did what we could do. And thankfully the first responder showed up to do the real work and get them up out of there, with a helicopter, because you couldn't get them out of there any other way.
Yeah.
By the way, so Andrew was driving. They are friends, Maddie and Andrew. Andrew in the hospital with more than 20 staples in his head.
Yeah. Wow.
So, that's how serious this situation is. And, they're both of their moms, we talked to them.
Yeah.
And they say that you and your friends are absolute heroes.
Yeah,
so,
Lenny, thank you. Thank you, Lenny.
I appreciate the praise, but like I said, the first responders get all of that, and obviously God.
All right. Have a great day, Lenny. Thank you so much.
And one other thing, before we go to break, there are GoFundMe's for them that are set up. And if you go to our website, fox10phoenix.com, you can find all the information on the GoFundMe that has now been set up as a result of this really unbelievable story. There are a lot of crashes that happen right there.
Oh my goodness. They were like, I think they set up since the 1950s. There's still cars just laying down there in the ravine.
More to come after this. All right, everybody. By the way, if you're new to the chat, be sure to say hi. We love to give a friendly shout out to everybody who joins us on the friendliest chat online. And by the way, speaking of who's joining us, here she is, everybody.
Hey, Bella.
We have Bella.
Good morning. Good to see you.
Okay, so Mariah Carey, you guys, has announced that she is going to do a residency in Vegas.
Yes.
Which I love this idea, but it's only going to be for Christmas.
Yeah, November and December.
Okay,
That
so
makes sense.
yeah, here's what she is going to be there, and she's going to do it November and December at the Dolby Live at the Park MGM. And they're going to is grand total of 10 shows. Pre-sale tickets go up for sale tomorrow. I don't know how you get in that group.
Okay.
But general tickets go on sale on Saturday. It would be really, it's going to be a smash hit. I have no idea how much they're going to go for, but I'm sure it's a pretty penny.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you know, we're about 100 days from Christmas right now.
Okay.
And so this is kind of like the big launch for her, and that's why she made the big announcement.
Yeah.
Right
what
now.
Would be we'd all love, I think, to hear her sing all of her Christmas. She's such a diva. It's just fantastic. But what would be the max? I mean, if you got online and you found out the cheapest tickets were $275,
that's so expensive.
Or $300. I don't even know what it is.
It's too much.
We'll find out when they go online tomorrow.
Lonely Road Traveler, I really liked this comment. It says, breaking, ... Mariah Carey is officially defrosting. Winter has begun.
See? Not only is it the friendliest chat online, it's some of the funniest for you,
Yes,
too.
so true.
Now, how about this? I was just informed by Jeff Haggerty, our editor, about what the tickets are going for the Wizard of Oz to see it at the Sphere.
I bet that's amazing.
Give me a guess, right? In fact, Bella, what's your guess? How much do you think tickets are going for to see the Wizard of Oz movie at the Sphere?
At
Give it a
least
guess.
300.
I was going to go 5.
Are you? Well, it's just a movie, first of all.
Well,
it's an experience.
You know what my guess was?
Sphere
this just shows you how out of touch I am. Proudly out of touch. I thought it was going to be around $35.
Oh, not at
was
the
it?
Sphere. Not at the Sphere.
Okay.
Yeah.
So according to Jeff, who's a sort of a Sphere expert,
Yes.
$119 are the cheapest seats that you can get in.
Okay, but those are like in the nosebleeds, probably.
Probably.
Right? So I wonder what they are, like just
Up close.
well, or not even up close, but maybe just the average ticket.
Yeah. Well, here's the Sphere. And there is, oh, look, the Wizard of Oz. So the whole thing about this, you guys, is that I guess when the tornado scene is happening, that there is material that's swirling around inside the Sphere.
Oh, like you can, it's like you're in the tornado.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? We have something like that here in Phoenix.
Okay.
At the Arizona Science Center.
Okay.
They have a monsoon replica type of thing, and you walk in and you can experience fire, wind, I think like a hurricane, tornado. Right. You stand in the center. And it's really wild. The wind is blowing. They have water coming in. It's crazy.
So this is at the Science Center?
Yeah, the Arizona Science Center.
Yeah.
Right down the street here.
Sure,
But I'm sure that's kind of like what is happening inside the Sphere.
Oh, yeah.
They just have sprinkles everywhere, wind kind of whipping around.
Remember
bits
at
of paper.
Disneyland when they came out with the soaring over California ride over there at California Adventure? You're like, these seats are moving. I think I smell the orange blossoms. How is this possible? Now the Sphere's taken it to a whole new level,
It's pretty cool.
I'm so bad. When Celeste said, "Oh, they have that in Arizona," I thought you were going to say just hop out of the car by Picacho Peak, and then you'll see a whole little haboob, right?
That too.
Yeah, that's for all you storm chasers. But anyway, we need Sphere number 2. Whenever they decide they want to do it, it needs to come here to the Valley, right?
Oh, yeah.
Would it not be a smash hit here?
I totally
all
agree.
of our tourists and everything?
It really would.
Okay. So we talked yesterday about how it was double cheeseburger day.
Ooh,
Celeste, missed that part of the
I
chat.
know. Where was this?
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
National. It's not just one state, Celeste. All 50 were participating.
Every time, well, I'm thinking, where did they have good double cheeseburgers that you guys were talking about?
Oh,
Dave's
yeah.
Double.
Well, that Dave's is a good one to go with, but A very good friend of yours, Celeste, went to In-N-Out. Look at those fries.
And protein style, this is my kind of burger.
Protein style. Guess which friend I'm talking about?
I'm talking about Bella.
That's correct.
Yes.
Bella, this is your order?
It is. I had to celebrate accordingly, so I went to In-N-Out and got a couple protein style double cheeseburgers to celebrate.
So I see 3.
Yes.
So what
Who's
happened
with
to the? First of all, you ate 2. What happened to the third
I had 2,
one?
and my boyfriend had 3. So we had a lot.
5.
Yes.
Are they doubles in there? Double
Yes.
meats?
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Good for you.
In fact, she says to me this morning, so did you go get your double cheeseburger?
Yeah.
And that was my plan. But I took my son and my grandson to Mason's football practice.
Yes.
And they had revealed to me that for lunch they had already had their cheeseburgers.
Oh, so?
So we went to Domino's and got pizza. But anyway, Bella, then you had another photo. Let me just pull that one up as well for everybody.
Ooh.
What's the story with this cheeseburger?
So my parents are very loyal Fox 10 Talks viewers. They watch it every day. And my dad loves a good cheeseburger. He was so happy to hear it was National Cheeseburger Day, thanks to Ron's sharing. So he made himself a double cheeseburger for dinner.
This was Dad's dinner.
Yes.
And awesome.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
Good. We need to find out about the recipe.
I know.
Yeah.
Right, like smash burger. What did he put? Does he put any seasonings in the meat?
Oh, yeah, lots of seasoning. It looks like a picture-perfect burger. It kind of looks like the Krabby Patty almost.
Yeah, so perfect.
That's great. What's your dad's first name, by the way?
Matt.
Matt. Thank you, Matt, for a great-looking burger, that's for sure.
Thanks, Dad.
Now, when it comes to food, IHOP, you guys, is finally, and I mean finally, talk about being late to the game, they are getting into the value meal concept, which everybody else has been doing. They're going to come out with 4 breakfast meals that are available from 7 in the morning right till 10 o'clock at night.
Wow, all day.
Yes, right? Okay, so here they are in a nutshell. Tell me which one you think you would like the most. It's a pancake meal.
Okay.
An omelet meal, a French toast meal, or a scrambled egg meal. Which one would you go for?
Could you just go like 3 times a day or 4 times a day and then just
think so.
breakfast, lunch, dinner?
I don't see anything in here about exclusions apply.
I mean, I probably would go French toast because I don't make those at home very often. But I'll do waffles and pancakes at home.
So there's 4 different ones?
Yes.
Okay, I have an idea.
Okay.
You, me, Celeste, and Dave. After the show,
we all go.
We each order one, and then we can share family style.
Nice.
Family
Little
style.
sampler.
I love it. It's a
Good.
great idea.
Yeah.
Now, do we have to wait for a new downtown IHOP, or can we go now?
I think we go now.
I would love to go now.
Okay. Good. Should we just shut down the stream for the rest of the day? I mean, literally go now, or can we wait till noon?
Can we take the stream with us on our phones on YouTube? Maybe we can stream it on our phones.
Yeah, there you
and then we
go.
can get y'all can share with the moment.
But Celeste, you think you would go with the French toast?
I think so.
Okay, Bella, how about you? Pancake, omelet, French toast, or scrambled egg?
Charles David says omelet, please.
If I had to take one out, I guess I'd take out the scrambled eggs, but I can't decide between the 3. Lonely Road Traveler, he's so funny, or she.
Yes.
The commenter said, IHOP is out here curing the economy one combo at a time.
Linda Monterth in the chat says, Brandy, yes, French toast for me too.
Oh, yeah.
Brandy's in there. She says, I'm a French toast gal.
Yeah, their French toast is really good.
So
I'm
good.
a fan of their waffles, but their French toast is good. All right, you guys, before we hand it over to Ty and Anita.
Yes.
This story about the latest perfume trend.
Oh, yeah.
Let's just talk about this a little bit here. And here's why. Because apparently they've come out, they say that women are now using certain perfumes to keep the men away.
Right.
Whoa.
Okay, so what's the whole story?
So let's say you're getting a lot of cat callers, right? We're walking down, Bella and I are walking down the street. Thank you, Ty. Thank you for that whistle.
Right.
And Bella and I are walking in our matching blues today
Of course.
to IHOP down the street.
Okay.
And some guys are, whistling, or gals or whoever.
Okay.
We don't know who's whistling. We just
Yes,
hear them.
Right.
Well, you know, we're kind of both taken
By
at
the
this
way,
point.
Dave's laughing through your explanation. Where's
Empty
Dave?
chair.
Dave's not buying that you've been getting the whistles lately.
Oh, I love the whistle.
Yeah.
It's great.
When was the
But I
last
love
time
that scenario.
Yeah, right. So we're walking down the street, and let's just say we're both taken.
Okay.
So I'm married. Bella has a boyfriend.
Yeah,
You know, I mean, we're
right.
not on the market.
Correct.
So we're going to start wearing a more woodsy aroma type of perfume.
Yeah.
And that is apparently supposed to keep the men away.
They even say just wear a man's cologne
Yeah.
and it'll confuse the dude who's
Right.
trying to whistle at you.
Maybe they'll think we're
Say,
men.
One of those cat collars gets a little close, and
Yeah.
then he gets a whiff, and he goes, "Never mind."
Yeah.
Walks away.
Yeah. Maybe like Old Spice.
I thought the problem was
Mm-hmm.
that the ladies of today say there are no good men to choose from, and they're not. It's not like they're trying to say, "Hey, get away." It's like, where are all the guys? Where are all the good guys to date anymore? True or false?
I think they exist out there.
Yes.
You just gotta like pick through like the weeds a little.
Do we know if this perfume has a name?
All right, let's find out here.
You know, yes, it's like the tears, right?
Yeah.
Like, move the tears out of the way.
Yeah.
There's a few good ones in there, really, that have really good roots.
Okay. Well, they
Lonely.
just say whatever smell that you think would be repellent to
Like a
man.
bug repellent.
Honestly, spray the off. Spray the off all over yourself
That's
first thing in the morning.
But I love the smell of citronella.
And
So
you love it.
I do.
Right? But
All
the
right.
guys won't,
Yeah.
right? And so they're like, oh, steer clear.
Here's the thing. We got to bring on, is it Ty or Anita who's going to
Ty.
join today?
Yeah,
Come
Ty.
on in,
Come on over, Ty.
everybody. Here we go. So, Bella, thank you. This is the official kind of changing of the guard.
Oh my goodness.
Ty,
Lonely
we're-
Road Traveler says the Eau de Divorce Court. It's like a new perfume. The Eau de Divorce Court.
Yeah.
So that's a good one.
Well, I think anything that would just replicate a sweaty man.
Jen
is
Swall
probably
says,
safe.
Woodsy, if he's a hunter, you're caught.
All right. 11 o'clock's coming up in about a couple of minutes. Ty, what's the game plan?
We are going to be talking, unfortunately, we had that sad news this morning about the passing of Robert Redford.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to be talking to someone from Phoenix Magazine who has had the opportunity to kind of follow his career.
Okay.
So we'll talk to him about his life and career. And then we're talking about the flu.
Okay.
Flu season is on the horizon.
Right.
We are going to be talking to our friend Dr. Natasha Bhuyan from One Medical about who should be getting the flu shot and when.
Okay.
And then we keep talking about the COVID shot. Things have changed about the COVID shot, especially here in Arizona, because of something that the governor did. So we'll talk about who can now has access to the COVID shot.
How are you going to pack all this into 30 minutes?
Great question. We're going to talk very, very fast. 2 times speed this morning. Anita and I have both been chugging coffee so we can talk as
Yes.
fast as we can. Coming up at 11 o'clock.
Oh, can't wait to see it. Can't wait. Can't
Coming
wait.
up right after the break.
Here we go.
Okay, have a good day. Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. Ty, Anita, Fox 10 Talks at 11.
There you go. Got it all
Well,
down.
I wasn't here yesterday. Sometimes I'm easily confused, you guys. I am blonde after all. I can say that because I am blonde. Hi, Louie. Good morning to you. We are awaiting a big press conference that is going to happen. It should be starting right around 11 o'clock. So we're waiting. This is Utah County District Attorney will be holding a press conference ahead of Tyler Robinson's first court appearance. Tyler Robinson, the suspect in the shooting, many people calling it assassination of conservative, I guess, activist Charlie Kirk. So as soon as that happens, you guys, we are going to pop in. In the meantime, we're going to chat about some local stuff that's happening.
Yeah. And this was kind of a wild story. The first one that we're going to talk about, I don't know if you were watching the news this morning.
Mm-hmm.
This actually happened.
I was reading the news this morning.
Yes, this actually happened. So was I. I was reading the story. This actually happened last summer, but we're just now hearing about it. And it's a pretty wild story that happened at the Maricopa County Animal Care and Control. So this is the suspect, the alleged suspect in this case. And she is accused of basically calling the
MCSO,
Maricopa County Animal Care and Control.
Thank you. Sorry. It's 37-year-old Katie Dixon is who we are looking at right there.
She made 18 separate calls to animal control in the span of just about 40 minutes. The calls prompted the shelter to actually evacuate. The calls threatened arson, murder, and sexual violence against some of the workers there. So they just kept calling and calling and calling, and actually prompted the evacuation of the shelter there. We actually have just a piece of one of the voicemails that she left, and we did kind of make a warning earlier just because it is pretty violent in what she
they're
was
violent
saying.
and a little graphic, and she made she threatened arson, she threatened murder, she threatened sexual violence against the workers. And so, a lot of people were really terrified as to what happened. Obviously, they brought the canines in after the evacuation. So do you want to play that?
Yeah.
Animal Care Control, how can I help you? You guys put Luna down, I'm coming to burn your building down and strangle you to death.
Thanks for calling in CACC. This is
Hey, I hope you guys burn in hell. I'm going to tie you guys all up, set your place on fire.
Well, this is, again, 37-year-old Katie Dixon making 18 separate calls to animal control here. So Maricopa County Animal Care and Control. What is interesting is that she did turn herself in after she found out there was a warrant issued for her arrest. She lives in Vancouver, Washington, and she is set to be back here in court next month. What we don't know is why she was making the calls. Was she living in Vancouver at the time? What exactly the motivation was.
Yeah, that's the big question. She mentioned one dog, I guess, that they were talking about that they put down. So I don't know if that kind of spurred on why she wanted to make these horrible calls to Maricopa County Animal Care and Control. But again, she did bond out, but she is expected to come back in court next month. So this is one of those stories that we're going to probably continue to follow over the next couple of months here.
And we have Patricia Randolph saying those phone calls were uncalled for.
All right, I'm watching the podium up in Utah. It looks like someone is coming to the podium as we speak. I don't know if we can turn up the volume just to see if maybe they're
not only filing the documents, but
here we go.
also printing them so that you have hard copies. Since it's so close to the news conference, we want to print as many as we can, and we're also going to be posting it when it is filed. But unfortunately, that means that the news conference is going to be delayed probably another 10 minutes or so. So we just ask for your patience as we continue to get that process going and completed so that we can continue and Jeff can appear.
All right, so it sounds like they're not quite ready to go with that press conference, probably another 10 to 15 minutes. So we'll try and dip in. We do have other guests, though, scheduled to talk to us on this Tuesday afternoon. Pretty sad story coming out of Hollywood this morning. Kind of a legend, Robert Redford.
Do you have a favorite Robert Redford movie?
Oh, man, there's been so many that he's been in.
I love the one with Demi Moore. Indecent Proposal, is that what it's called? Am I correct? I'm correct. I'm getting the nod from Mark Morehead with Phoenix Magazine. Robert Redford passed away, born in 1936, August 18th. Wow.
Yeah, he was quite a guy. I mean, you remember Indecent Proposal, which I think was from the 90s.
I'm going to look it up.
But I don't think younger people, maybe including y'all, really,
1993.
There you go.
1993.
Okay. But I don't think people realize like what a byword for male beauty, for just like a gorgeous dude. The name Robert Redford was. I mean, like when I was in high school in the 70s and 80s, when he was really in his heyday as kind of a young leading man, I mean, that's the sort of, you'd say like, oh, gee, that guy thinks he's a regular Robert Redford, you know, that kind of thing.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Like Ty here is a regular Robert
Oh,
Redford.
please. No, Ty
He's a good,
could've-
good looking, charismatic.
Actually, Bob might have thought, you know, I'm a regular Ty, you know, but he was, he had that. I when my wife told me this morning that he had passed on, I got out my high school yearbook, and there was a picture of a friend of mine who had given himself a thought balloon that said, "Eat your heart out, Robert Redford."
Oh, that's funny.
And the girl in front of him had written with her thought balloon, "I'll take Bobby R."
Oh.
You know, so he was that, but what also becomes clear when you look at his credits over the years is he really was a good actor. He had a very unassuming style, very kind of quiet. The effects were small, but he was funny. And he didn't push a lot of histrionics. He wasn't an overactor, very definitely. Probably my favorite of his movies is All the President's Men, in which he played Bob Woodward. And what you get is there's this huge sort of historical epic happening around him, and he's just this kind of modest, unassuming, quiet guy that doesn't really push his acting chops
When
hard.
I Google Robert Redford movies, one of the questions most asked is what is considered Robert Redford's best movie? And that's coming up is The Sting, which was released in 1973.
Yes.
7 Academy Awards, including Best Picture.
Another big favorite of mine, and it paired him with a co-star of his that was very, very popular, which was Paul Newman.
Oh.
And they play a couple of long con grifters and they're trying to cheat somebody who killed a friend of theirs, and that's a wonderful picture, brilliantly written. But that's another thing that you find when you go through, especially when he became a star who could kind of pick and choose his own material. If you look down a list of his credits, there just isn't a lot of junk. You know, some movies are better than others, of course, but you don't get any very few at least, real stinkers. He had great taste, and he was real selective, and he did seem to sort of, I guess you could say, he trusted his audience. He didn't believe in dumbing things down. He believed that we could come along for the ride with him. And so that I think was another big thing in his favor.
Folks at home, if you have a favorite Robert Redford movie, I'd love to hear about it.
Yeah. Mark, I was going to mention, I grew up in Park City, Utah.
Oh,
okay. So the Sundance Film Festival,
and that's another big thing.
Which he started.
He
started it, and the Sundance was a big thing with him, but he was never one to be sort of caught up in the whirlwind of Hollywood glamour or scandal or any of that stuff. He was apparently a pretty private guy. But he was very active. He was very politically active. He was a big environmentalist. He believed in giving back to his industry. Sundance is a great example of that. So I think he loved that part of the country, Utah, Colorado, places like that. But he lived in a kind of a modest way, I believe, in that way. Similar, and I would say kind of reflected his acting style.
You know, it's funny too, because I mean, growing up there, you'd see all the celebrities come for Sundance, but you rarely saw Robert Redford, and there was never any sightings of him. You know what I mean?
No, he wasn't one to milk the public thing, and nobody could have been, at that time especially, again, nobody could have been a much bigger star than this. He was the guy, but he never seemed to milk it, as far as I could tell.
Kind of a low-profile guy. I think he kind of liked staying off the radar, even though he's a big Hollywood star.
Yep, and he lent his name to causes that were important to him, that he believed in. And he was also, it should be said, a lot of success behind the camera as well. He didn't do as much of it as he did acting, but he was a very good director. He won, I think the only Oscar he ever won was for Ordinary People.
Okay.
And he had a great career into old age, a terrific late picture that he did called Spy Game. It's a lot of fun, a thriller. And late in his career, he did a picture called All Is Lost, in which he barely speaks. He just speaks a few words in the whole movie. He's a man who's trapped on a boat that's been damaged, and he's struggling to survive. And it's about as much of a one-man show as a movie can be. It's just him. I think there's maybe a stunt man in one scene. But other than that, it's all him. And again, almost no dialogue. It's just that face. And he was one of those guys who, especially as an older man, he kind of really learned that less is more.
We're getting a lot of Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid as favorite movies.
Out of Africa.
Also very big.
The Sting, Horse Whisperer.
That was one. That was a picture. I believe he also directed that.
I didn't know he was in The Godfather. Is that correct?
I don't believe so.
It says best movie of all time. Oh, okay, this is often feature. Okay.
Oh, they're just I mean, if you're saying, The Godfather's a great movie, but I don't think Redford was in that.
What is considered best movie? I was going to say I didn't think he was in that as well. I didn't think he was in that as well. No, I'm just looking at AI has given us some stuff. Do we know how he got his start in acting?
Well, yeah, he was, I believe he actually originally aspired to be a painter. He was a California kid. He was from Santa Monica, I think. And he studied painting, but I think he just kind of stumbled into it. And he did a lot of TV. I think the most recently that I saw him in anything was a couple weeks ago. It was in an old rerun of The Twilight Zone. And he plays this sort of beautiful young cop who's comforting an old lady who is afraid to die. So even at that very young age, when he was doing that early TV, he was seen. He had that sort of benign, almost angelic quality that they like to exploit. But you'll see him on like Perry Mason and Route 66 and things like that. So he did a lot of that, but when he got into movies, he didn't look back. He was in a couple of low-budget movies early on. War Hunt, I believe, was one, and Situation Hopeless but Not Serious with Mike Connors.
The Way We Were with Barbara Streisand.
But that came a little later, and that was when he was a big star. But boy, for a whole generation of ladies,
I see
that
what
would
you're,
be the romantic
Well, I'm looking at the photos. And
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. Very, very handsome, classic man. We have about 30 seconds before our break. Did you ever interview him?
I never did. I never got to meet him. I've
got
just
to.
been a fan.
Big
I
fan.
remember, I always loved a picture of his called Brubaker, a prison drama, and very stormy, tempestuous drama. And at the middle is Robert Redford just kind of being modest and funny and quiet. That was the great effect that he
You're
had.
a wealth of knowledge. Look at this movie trivia you have. This is incredible.
Yeah, this is what I've
what you
wasted
do?
my life on, yes.
Well, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much for coming in and giving us a little background on the life and legacy of Robert Redford.
Pretty incredible.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate
one of the
being
great
here.
ones for sure.
Thanks.
We'll be right back.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
Welcome back in, everyone. We are going to go ahead and head out to a press conference that's taking place. Utah County District Attorney is talking ahead of Tyler Robinson's first court appearance.
Aggravating factors on counts 1 and 2 because the defendant is believed to have targeted Charlie Kirk based on Charlie Kirk's political expression and did so knowing that children were present and would witness the homicide. The state is also charging defendant with count 3, obstruction of justice, a second-degree felony for moving and concealing the rifle used in the shooting. Count 4, obstruction of justice, a second-degree felony for disposing the clothing he wore during the shooting. Count 5, witness tampering, a third-degree felony for directing his roommate to delete his incriminating texts. Count 6, witness tampering, a third-degree felony for directing his roommate to stay silent if police questioned him. And count 7, commission of a violent offense in the presence of a child, a Class A misdemeanor, for committing homicide knowing that children were present and may have seen or heard the murder and did so based on Charlie Kirk's political expression. Also, following the press conference, I am filing a notice of intent to seek the death penalty. I do not take this decision lightly, and it is a decision I have made independently as county attorney, based solely on the available evidence and circumstances and nature of the crime. Because we are seeking the death penalty, the defendant will continue to be held without bail in the Utah County Jail. Turning to the 10-page information, these are the allegations. On September 10th, 2025, at approximately 12:23 p.m., Charlie Kirk was shot and killed while speaking to a large crowd on the campus of Utah Valley University in Orem, Utah. Police found the suspected murder weapon, a bolt-action .30-06 rifle, nearby. Over the next approximately 33 hours, police conducted a manhunt for the shooter until the evening of September 11th, 2025, when Tyler James Robinson surrendered to police at the Washington County Sheriff's Office. DNA consistent with Robinson was found on the rifle's trigger. After shooting Mr. Kirk, Robinson hid the gun, discarded the clothing he wore when he fired the rifle, and told his roommate to delete incriminating text messages and not talk to police. Children were present at the time of the shooting. The shooting. Turning Point USA, a nonprofit organization founded in 2012 by Charlie Kirk, organized a public outdoor event to be held at noon on September 10th, 2025 at UVU. The event was the first in a series of similar events to be held at college campuses nationwide. Mr. Kirk is a well-known conservative activist famous for these type of events where he discusses various political issues and debates with audience members. His events and comments have garnered a significant number of supporters and drawn the ire of many who disagree with his political views. The event at UVU was announced far in advance and garnered significant publicity and interest. Consequently, several hundred people attended. Mr. Kirk was interacting with a crowd before the event officially got underway. Then, at approximately noon, Mr. Kirk seated himself under a portable canopy behind a table and microphone. He began speaking to the crowd and fielding questions from attendees, a format Mr. Kirk commonly used at his events. Mr. Kirk allowed his questioners to approach a microphone positioned directly in front of him. Mr. Kirk's team members were very close to him on his right and left, as well as some behind his canopy and others at various close locations near him. The large crowd surrounded Mr. Kirk on three sides. Temporary metal fencing separated attendees.
All right, so that is Utah County District Attorney holding a press conference ahead of Tyler Robinson's first court appearance. Several charges will be filed for the shooting death of Charlie Kirk last week. We will continue to stream this live for you on our YouTube page. We will continue coverage on later editions, including at noon, and Fox 10 News as well. So we will stay tuned to that. We have a really great guest, though, and I know a lot of people were already chatting about flu and COVID vaccines. We had some questions, so we wanted to get to you, Doctor. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Dr. Bhuyan here with us. All right, let's get right into it because this is the cold and flu season that we are coming into. There is a flu vaccine already ready and available, right?
Yes, yeah. I can't believe cold and flu season's already here, but the flu vaccine, it is available, so people can get that now if they want to. And a couple of changes compared to prior years. So one of them is the flu vaccine was always a quadrivalent vaccine. It had 4 flu strains in it, 2 of influenza A, 2 of influenza B. This year, the thing that's different is it only has 3 flu strains, and that's because one of the influenza B strains, it hasn't been circulating for years. And so we've kind of realized we only need to really cover the 3 main strains. And so that's one change this year. The other big change this year for flu vaccines is they will not have the preservative thimerosal. So most flu vaccines did not have that preservative, but the multi-dose flu vaccines did. But because of different changes, people are skeptical of preservatives. No flu vaccines have that preservative, even though in the past it was shown to be safe. It doesn't have harmful side effects. But those are the 2 big changes with the flu vaccine.
Maybe a silly question, but when you're saying it went from 4 strains to 3, do we somehow feel that or even know that there's a difference?
No, for us it won't feel any different, but it is nice to we're trying to target the circulating flu a lot
what
better.
You need,
yes,
right,
exactly.
Yeah.
Dr. Bhuyan, let me ask you this. Is this kind of a people always say that like after I get the flu shot, I feel sick. Is that just psychosis or do people actually maybe sometimes feel sick?
Some people might get
psychosis,
symptoms.
Not psychosis. You know what I meant.
No, what the flu shot's
Psychological.
Yeah. What the flu shot's actually doing, though, it's boosting your own immune system. So it's basically ramping up your T cells and your B cells to fight the flu. So if you do encounter the flu, your immune system will be ready. So for some people, it makes sense that they might feel kind of tired and a little bit sick. But I think I tell people this every single year. The flu shot does not cause the flu.
Okay.
There is no live flu in the
I swear I've gotten it. I know. I swear I've gotten it right after, but it's just coincidence.
It's a coincidence. And there's people that have said that, and I say, generally it's because it takes 2 weeks for the flu vaccine to be effective. And so people might get the flu shot, and in those 2 weeks, they might actually end up catching the flu because it's circulating, but it does not cause the flu.
We have questions and comments, but I can't remember what I was going to ask you. So maybe it'll come back to my head. Yes.
Okay, let's ask the question that Brandy the Bookworm is asking here this morning, Dr. Bhuyan, if you don't mind. How often should people who are immunocompromised get pneumonia and COVID boosters?
Yeah, so people who are immunocompromised, generally for the pneumonia booster, we say every 5 years, because for people who aren't immunocompromised, they get the pneumonia shot once and then they're covered
and
the rest of their lives as an adult.
That.
But for people who are immunocompromised, we do boosters. And then for the COVID vaccines, we are recommending those annually now. And so, this is the COVID vaccine recommendation is very different than the flu. So in the past, we've said flu vaccine, everyone over the age of 6 months get it. And so that's pretty straightforward. It's still the same recommendation. If you're over age 6 months, get the flu vaccine. COVID vaccine's pretty tricky this year. So historically, we've said people who are adults should get it, and then kids over the age of 6 months. This year, it's actually changed because the FDA only approved it for people over the age of 65, or if you're under age 65 and you're immunocompromised or have other health conditions, you should get it. The thing that's actually confusing, though, is that there's medical societies that are coming out with their own guidelines, and the medical societies are saying, look, any adult should get the flu vaccine, even if you don't have an underlying chronic condition.
You mean COVID?
The COVID vaccine, because it is protective of COVID.
What are medical societies? What do you mean by that?
Yeah, so medical societies are usually created from doctors, and so there's like the American Academy of Pediatrics, and so they're pediatricians, American Academy of Family Physicians are physicians. So the American Academy of Pediatrics, their guidelines are also very different. So right now, the FDA has kind of said that the COVID vaccine should For kids, talk to your doctor, essentially. Like, just talk to your doctor if you don't know what to do. But the American Academy of Pediatrics is saying if you're 6 months to 2 years, you should get the COVID vaccine, because in that group, we do see more severe cases of COVID. And then other kids that have asthma or other medical conditions should get it. And then healthy kids, talk to your doctor about it. And so it's interesting because you're seeing slight divergences of these guidelines.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say that I guess the way they're describing it is you kind of need a prescription then, right? Because I know someone whose dad, over 65, went to CVS or a pharmacy and said, I'd like to get a flu or a COVID vaccine, and said, you have to have. But then they said, but I'm in that age group, though. So what are the rules? Are people still trying to figure them out?
And things have changed here in our state.
It's changed in Arizona. Right. So this has led to a lot of confusion, because essentially, if something is not approved by the FDA, so the FDA approved it for over age 65 and people with chronic conditions. But for somebody who's, 40 years old and healthy, it's technically off-label. So if they get the COVID vaccine, it's off-label per the FDA. Well, we do off-label meds all the time. So that's not atypical. But because it's off-label, you need a doctor's order. That was kind of one of those things of, before you could just walk into a pharmacy and get it. And then now it's like, well, now you need to contact your doctor, get a prescription. That was a cumbersome layer. And so many states have actually said, you don't need a doctor's order. Arizona being one of them because of the governor. You don't need a doctor's order because now we have a standing order.
So basically, that's a prescription for anybody who wants it.
Exactly, yeah. Standing order is just a prescription. It's like a wide net prescription, which I think, to me, ultimately what it means is if people want to get the COVID vaccine, they can go to their pharmacy, they can go to a doctor's office, and they can get it without an order. But if people don't want to get the COVID vaccine, obviously they don't have to. So to me, it's really just how do we remove barriers so people aren't like messaging their provider and they can't get a hold of their providers. So, but ultimately, if you're confused about whether or not you should get the COVID vaccine, it is worth talking to your doctor.
So if you walk into a pharmacy today or tomorrow and there is still confusion, what do you need to know? What do you need to tell them in order to get the vaccine that you want to get?
Yeah, so many pharmacies right now, they're having people self-attest. So if you have an underlying condition, like if you have asthma, you can say, I've got asthma, this is why I need to get it. Or another condition that you need to get it. But if you are healthy and there's no medical reason that you would get it, you're healthy, you should still be able to get it at the pharmacies because of the governor's standing order. But I think right now there's a little bit of confusion of
people are trying to figure out
when does that kick in.
Dr. Bhuyan, we got 30 seconds left, but I wanted to ask you real quick. I mean, what are you seeing in your office? Are COVID numbers going up? Because I mean, unfortunately, we don't really see the track anymore.
Right. Yeah. Well, COVID went up in August, which that's what tends to happen. We think there's going to be another increase in December if we have to predict it. So my prediction is that probably in December and January, we're going to see more flu, we're going to see more COVID. So it's a good idea to get vaccinated now so you're covered for those winter months.
Okay, you're going to be on hiatus. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
So as soon as you're ready, you're coming back.
Of course I will come back.
Dr.
Thank you all so much.
Be happy and healthy. Thank you.
Des and Ron are next. Stay with us.
It's 11:30, and we are continuing on Fox 10 Talks. We are going to be taking you live right now to Provo, Utah, where the DA there in Utah County has announced the death penalty will be sought in the case that he has developed against Tyler Robinson in the killing of Charlie Kirk. Let's listen in.
When asked why he did it, Robinson explained there is too much evil and the guy, referring to Charlie Kirk, spreads too much hate. They talked about Robinson turning himself in and convinced Robinson to speak with a family friend who is a retired deputy sheriff. At Robinson's father's request, the family friend met with Robinson and his parents and convinced Robinson to turn himself in. The family friend spoke to police and reported telling Robinson that it would be best if he brought all evidence with him to the sheriff's office to avoid police having to search his parents' home. The friend also asked Robinson if he had any clothes that were related to what he did. Robinson replied that he had disposed of the clothes in different areas. The roommate. Police interviewed Robinson's roommate, a biological male who was involved in a romantic relationship with Robinson. The roommate told police that the roommate received messages from Robinson about the shooting, and he did provide those messages to police. On September 10th, 2025, the roommate received a text message from Robinson which said, "Drop what you're doing, look under my keyboard." The roommate looked under the keyboard and found a note that stated, quote, "I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it." Police found a photograph of this note. The following text exchange then took place. After reading the note, the roommate responded, "What? You're joking, right?" Robinson, "I am still okay, my love, but am stuck in Orem for a little while longer yet. Shouldn't be long until I can come home, but I gotta grab my rifle still. To be honest, I had hoped to keep this secret till I died of old age. I am sorry to involve you." Roommate, "You weren't the one who did it, right?" Robinson, I am. I'm sorry." Roommate, "I thought they caught the person." Robinson, "No, they grabbed some crazy old dude, then interrogated someone in similar clothing. I had planned to grab my rifle from my drop point shortly after, but most of that side of town got locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out, but there's one vehicle lingering." Roommate, "Why?" Robinson, "Why did I do it?" Roommate, "Yeah." Robinson, "I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. If I am able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence. Going to attempt to retrieve it again. Hopefully they have moved on. I haven't seen anything about them finding it." Roommate, "How long have you been planning this?" Robinson, "A bit over a week, I believe. I can get close to it, but there is a squad car parked right by it. I think they already swept that spot, but I don't want to chance it." Robinson again, "I'm wishing I had circled back and grabbed it as soon as I got to my vehicle. I'm worried what my old man would do if I didn't bring back Grandpa's rifle. IDEK if it's had a serial number, but it wouldn't trace to me. I worry about prints. I had to leave it in a bush where I changed outfits. Didn't have the ability or time to bring it with. I might have to abandon it and hope they don't find prints. How the F will I explain losing it to my old man? Only thing I left was the rifle wrapped in a towel. Remember how I was engraving bullets? The F in messages are mostly a big meme. If I see notice bulge UWU on Fox News, I might have a stroke all right. I'm going to have to leave it. That really effing sucks. Judging from today, I'd say Grandpa's gun does just fine, IDK. I think that was a $2K dollar scope. Wink, wink. Robinson again, delete this exchange. Again, Robinson, my dad wants photos of the rifle. He says Grandpa wants to know who has what. The feds released a photo of the rifle, and it is very unique. He's calling me, RN, not answering. Robinson, since Trump got into office, my dad has been pretty diehard MAGA. Robinson, I'm going to turn myself in willingly. One of my neighbors here is a deputy for the sheriff. Again, you are all I worry about, love. That came from Robinson. Roommate, I'm much more worried about you. Robinson, don't talk to the media, please. Don't take any interviews or make any comments. If any police ask you questions, ask for a lawyer and stay silent. The search for Robinson's residence. Police executed a search warrant on Robinson's residence. During that search, police discovered a shell casing with etchings like the etchings found on the shells in the rifle near UVU. Police also found several target boards with bullet holes in Robinson's home. Now, as I stated in the beginning, when I read those allegations, these are allegations. And like the evidence set forth in this statement, those allegations, what you've heard from the media, even from state and federal officials, has not been tested in the crucible of a jury trial. I understand the public's desire to know the facts. My own family members have pressed me for information. Why are we reluctant to share the details of the investigation itself and comment on the case? Because I want to ensure a fair and impartial trial. I became a prosecutor because of my love for the ideals of this great country and the principles embedded in our Constitution. The free exchange of ideas and opinions is critical to this great American experiment, but so too are the protections afforded to the accused found in the Fifth and Sixth Amendments. The right against self-incrimination, the right to a speedy and public trial, the right to the effective assistance of counsel, the right to confront one's accusers, and the right to compel the attendance of witnesses. And perhaps most importantly, under our Constitution, the accused is presumed innocent until we, the state, prove to an impartial jury of defendant's peers his guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. That jury cannot rely on our allegations, on what they hear in the news, or on what they hear from a public official. The jury is the sole trier of fact.
Okay, we've been listening to Jeff Gray. He is the DA, the district attorney in Utah County, walking through in really great detail kind of the moment-by-moment actions that were being taken and the texts that were being shared back and forth. And the story is just going to continue to unfold from there. Mm-hmm. Difficult. We're approaching 1 week now since we all learned the news, and difficult just to listen once again to everything that happened.
Yeah, and in all, he is being charged with 7 counts, and that does include the aggravated murder charge, and they are seeking the death penalty in this case.
Yeah. So the state's moving forward. By the way, Utah is one of, I think, almost a dozen states that still has the firing squad as one of the options, but we won't put the cart before the horse. There's still a whole court case and trial to go through that no doubt will last for several months. You know, there's a story here in the Valley that a lot of people are talking about having to do with that. Remember, Des, we had it on our news yesterday morning, the crash of a semi-truck into the light rail and the fire.
Yeah.
It just, the whole explosion.
When you see something like that, it was like, this happened here at home with us.
Right.
But yeah, it was wild.
And we've had accidents involving light rails where, somebody accidentally bumps into the train and it's kind of like, well, it stops. But never anything like this where you see the fire and the flames and people were on board. And one of the people who was on board has been talking to us here at Fox 10 just a little bit about his story, and we thought you'd find it kind of interesting just to listen to what it was he had to say.
It was a big fire. I mean, I've never seen it grow so fast. I've never heard the explosions like that. It felt like being in a war zone. Oh my God. Oh my God. I saw the people in the front car get off like cockroaches. They all just scurried off. Whatever you call that cable above the train, it had snapped and almost smacked like 4 of us on the way out. The explosions kept pushing me back. Whatever that truck was carrying was highly flammable, highly volatile. The fire had like doubled or tripled in size. And by that time, things started exploding.
It is such a miracle that nobody was.
It really is. And I think that if they hadn't had that camera set up right there at the Jet Limousine's offices, I don't think we would have understood the impact, just the sound of the crash. And then you're able to see how quickly the fire ensued. People were obviously concerned for others on the train, including the conductor. And I'm just glad that this particular fellow was willing to share his personal experience.
No, incredible. And it looked like he was maybe going to work or on his way from work too when he spoke there. So wow, it just goes to show how fragile life is. It could have changed in a second, but miraculous that nobody was seriously hurt.
Hey, we thank you for spending some time with us here on our 2-hour streaming show. We have a real treat for you. We do have a break coming up, but if you've been if you spend any time looking for fun stuff on social media, you are probably familiar with the man himself.
Hey, Sean!
That is Sean the Science Kid, and he is just a delight to follow online. So, Sean, we got a quick break coming up, but we do want you to show off your bow tie. And you tell us why so many people are in love with what you're doing online. We will be back with that in a quick 2 minutes right after the break. Okay, everybody, and we welcome you back. Going into the break, we told you Sean the Science Kid is going to be our special guest. He's there. He's all set. Nobody rocks the bow tie, Des, online like Sean.
Oh, my gosh. He's the best. Sean, welcome. I've been so excited to talk to you now for weeks and weeks. How are you?
I'm not just doing amazing. I am doing absolutely scientifically beautifully cute.
I love it.
You've been a member of Mensa starting at what age?
4.
The age of 4.
4.
That's got to be like
since
a
the age
Guinness.
of 4.
It's got to be a Guinness World
Wow.
Record
And you're
right
now 10, correct?
Yeah.
No, I'm 36. But I'll be turning 11 in a few days.
Oh, happy early birthday. When's your birthday?
Thank you. September 20.
Oh,
We're going to roll
happy
some of
early
the video
birthday.
here from all your various posts here. How did you first get started, and what is it about what you do that literally has millions of people gravitating toward you?
Well, first of all, it's all about like giving the speech, like the way you pronounce it and the way you give it. It's all about the way you speak. Because if I were to be like, let's say, a college lecturer, people say that I would captivate their attention because of the way I speak interestingly. I add remarks and jokes and sometimes even references to shows in my speeches and educations.
Yes, you are so fascinating. You are, Sean, and you're really into science. So you have 1.5 million followers just on Instagram alone, and you teach us all about different scientific concepts. So what is it about science that you fell in love with at such a young age?
The explanatory nature of it. It explains everything, all of your questions about the world. Science can get it answered for you. Like, the second you have a question on why is this working, science rushes in with a lecture and then just teleports you to its thesis room so that it can give you a detailed explanation on how a concept works, because nothing's better than learning.
How are you impacting, based on the comments you get when you post, how are you impacting the lives of kids who want to learn more about science?
Well, you see, my life goal has been dedicated to educating millions of people online. So I usually like to try my best to impact these people in the most positive way possible by teaching them that science isn't just your boring textbook subject, but science is in everything you do, from the water you drink to the disgustingness of orange juice after brushing your teeth. Science explains it all.
Wow, so fascinating. So I actually saw one of your most recent interviews you did with Dr. Sanjay Gupta, and I found it so fascinating, just the way you spoke about the brain and your love for the brain. So share with us, what's your favorite part of the brain, and why is that the case?
Sean, coming in, the hippocampus is my favorite part of the brain because of the way it helps you with memories and connects you to your past. Like I mentioned in the Sanjay Gupta interview, the connection to your past that it gives is amazing because it allows you to remember literally anything. So the next time you get a reminiscent memory, just remember your hippocampus is hard at work, allowing you to keep that beautiful moment in your mind forever.
Oh. And what do you want to be when you grow up? You would like to explore our brains, and so tell us what we'll see you become one day.
A neurocardiosurgeon, aka a brain and heart surgeon. Now you may be wondering, Sean, obviously every kid wants to do that, but I also want to be a theoretical physicist. which means I make theories about physics and especially unifying quantum mechanics and relativity. I'm sorry the dreams are a little basic, but I mean, that's all I could come up with.
I mean, Sean, you got to aim higher, bud.
There you go. Wow.
Wait, real quick question, because I know we have to wrap it up with you soon. Are there any what? Are there any doctors even like that, Sean? I mean, 2 specialties there? Are you going to be the first?
My mom found a Facebook group of neurocardiologists, but that's basically the only place I've ever seen more than one neurocardiosurgeon where that one isn't me.
All right. Well, we'll be looking for you, bud. You are quite
Wow.
impressive.
Oh, my gosh. Okay, so you've motivated all of us to become future members of Mensa.
Yeah, I think that ship has sailed for you and I.
Yeah, probably so. Sean, you're the best, buddy. Thanks for hanging out with us today on Fox 10
Yes,
Talks.
thank you, Sean.
Okay, so Des, I see that you have a T-shirt here, and I thought maybe we could chat with our audience. T-shirts are a hot commodity, and
Well, everybody needs one.
Yeah, tell us. Okay, so that is. Have you seen these around town? There are already about 50 of them out and about. And
Some of them have our signature on them,
we
too.
call this T-shirt Tuesday.
Yes, because we're starting something new.
Because we're ready to do another giveaway, if you can believe it. And look at it right there on the back. I'm a Fox 10 talker. Join the FTT family. More people are doing it every day all around the country. Our loyal fan base continues to grow. And so we do want to say thank you. If you go to fox10phoenix.com/contest, you'll find where you can register to maybe win one of these T-shirts. Now, we're going to select, I believe, 10 winners every week. And so as the weeks go on, at least for the next few weeks, 10 more shirts are going to be set and ready to go.
Yeah, we got them ready. So get in there.
Good. Okay, go to fox10phoenix.com/contest.
I was just checking in the chat. A lot of folks were excited about Sean. Someone did ask, what's his IQ? We should have asked that. But to be in Mensa, you have to be in the top 2% IQ of people in the world.
I know, and he did it at 4.
And
it's unbelievable.
He did it at 4. So it doesn't matter what his IQ is.
I nominate him for favorite guest of the month so far.
Oh, he was awesome.
Hey, so we heard early this morning, I think it came in right around 6 a.m., that Robert Redford had passed away. And I was actually surprised to learn, Des, that he had almost reached the age of 90. He's been out of the public eye now for much of the last decade or so, but he's an icon, and we thought if we could bring Zach Pope on, let me just call him up right here. Here's Zach. A lot of you may be familiar with Zach. He has literally tens of thousands of subscribers on YouTube, and we thought he'd be a good source to maybe share some stories of Robert Redford and why it was, Zach, you think that he cut through to reach so many millions of fans over the course of literally decades. Not everybody gets to have a career that long.
Yeah, no, I fully agree. I mean, when I woke up this morning and I had gotten a text about this, it honestly really sank my heart a bit, especially for Hollywood. He was such a charming and amazing guy, and in a way was the symbol of American cinema. He wasn't just an actor. He was a performer, a director, an activist, and also the founder of Sundance Film Festival, which is personally my favorite film festival out there. He's a household name, and he's been one since 1969, even if he retired a couple of years back. And I think for me, this week, anytime we lose an actor like this or an actress, I always like to curate a little bit of a marathon for me to jump back into some of his older films. And I know for me, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid is definitely going to be one that I watched this week. Of course, he starred alongside Paul Newman in there, and then they reunited a couple years later for The Sting, where he first earned his first Oscar nomination in that film. And for me, might be my favorite performance and film from him, but he just went on and on throughout his entire career. You have The Way We Are with Barbra Streisand. You have The Great Gatsby, where I think a lot of people forget that he was the first Jay Gatsby. Everyone looks at Leonardo DiCaprio because of the gifs and the memes and everything of that nature, but in a lot of ways, he was the definitive Jay Gatsby. He was what a lot of people grew up with and saw reflected from the book. And I think one of the most important performances probably for him was All the President's Men, where he very much showed the power of journalism in a democracy. And I think his entire career just spearheads from there.
I'm so glad you mentioned The Way We Were, because that's the one. That is one of the most romantic movies you will ever see. So that's the one I'm going to go back and watch.
You like that one? And then a lot of folks
today.
loved Indecent Proposal too. And then he was like in the Marvel series, and then he was in some animated films too, like Charlotte's Web and Pete's Dragon. My kids love that. So he's really like did everything.
Yeah, he was everywhere. And you mentioned the Marvel Universe. I mean, that was a film I think he mentioned that he had done for his grandkids just because they're in the Marvel. Marvel was the popular thing. And he came in and it could have been an easy, simple cameo that he did, but he ended up being a very pivotal role that I think overall changes the Marvel Universe. Like what he did in there as a villain very much showed that charismatic way that he had through all of his career. But when he came into that film, he influenced so much and changed Steve Rogers, Captain America's entire arc that very much paved the way for Avengers Endgame. Like without that performance and without that character, it is something that very much, I don't think the MCU would be the same that it is nowadays.
I think just so people get a glimpse at his wonderful personality. I mean, I feel like we all should have gotten to know him. This is a text that I got from my daughter this morning who lives up there in Utah. She and her husband were at a restaurant up at Sundance called the Tree Room. The server comes over and says, hey, you might have noticed, but Bob, they called him Bob, is seated over there. He's going to be leaving. We asked that you'd give him his privacy as he leaves. But he immediately walked right up to our table.
Right up to them?
Yes. And said to a friend of theirs, you have a great beard. I know this guy Hans. He has like this most amazing beard. Hans leapt up and said, thank you, sir. You have a great restaurant. And just little interactions like that, that really, I think, does speak to his genuine warmth. What do you think?
I fully agree, and I love hearing stories like that. I mean, the few times that I've gotten to go to Sundance Film Festival, you just hear so many great stories. I sadly never got to meet him, but I always saw him there, especially just walking around, enjoying movies. Like that was the reason that he curated that. And it's thanks to him that he, began this small little workshop that again grew into Sundance Film Festival. And now it is one of the most important stages for independent filmmaking in the world. Like a lot of the reason that Sundance is here is because of what Redford gave and the platform to voice Hollywood. And I think it's without him, we wouldn't have talents like Quentin Tarantino, who went on to create, of course, Pulp Fiction, the Coen brothers, who went on to create No Country for Old Men, Damien Chazelle, La La Land, Ryan Coogler, who just made Sinners. And then you even have Cian Heder, who directed Coda, that premiered at Sundance Film Festival. And it went on to win Best Picture. Like, it's great. It's amazing. It's amazing what he was able to do.
Yeah, we got to run. We got to break.
And let's admit it. No one's ever going to forget that face.
Yeah,
I mean, he was very handsome.
We're keeping you on speed dial for future episodes, Zach.
Yeah, thanks,
Thank you.
Zach.
Thank you, guys.